A clinical trial gave creatine to Alzheimer's patients. Not a drug, creatine. Their cognitive scores improved. I'm not talking about healthy people trying to stay sharp. I'm talking about people already diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That finding stopped me cold. And it's the reason I take creatine every single morning. Not for my muscles, for my brain. And if you have any family history of dementia or Alzheimer's, or you're just someone who wants to improve your brain after 60, what I'm about to share might be the most important thing you watch this week. In my last video, I shared what creatine did to my body in just 2 weeks. The energy, the gym, what I noticed physically. Today, I want to tell you why I actually started taking it. Because the muscle and energy results, as good as they weren't the reason. Hey, I'm Steven, I'm 62, I research how to age better so you don't have to do it alone. Here's something most people don't know. Your brain runs on the same energy system as your muscles. Both use something called ATP as fuel. Creatine helps your cells produce ATP more efficiently, which means it's just not only a muscle supplement, it's an energy supplement for every cell in your body, including the most energy-hungry organ you have, your brain. And here's the thing, most of you watching this probably have lower creatine levels than you realize, because after 60, your body's natural production starts declining. And most of us aren't replacing it through food. The main food source of creatine is red meat and fish. Now, I eat very little red meat, and if you're like most health-conscious people over 60, you probably don't eat that much either. Vegetarians have the lowest baseline of anyone, and you cannot realistically get 5 grams of creatine from food alone. Guess what? You need 2 to 3 pounds of red meat every single day. That's not happening for me. I don't know about you. Supplementing, it's the only practical answer. So think about that for a moment. How much red meat do you actually eat? Because if the answer is not 2 to 3 pounds per day, and for most people watching this, it isn't, your creatine levels are probably lower than you think and have been for years. And then I started thinking about my parents. My dad ate almost no red meat, no fish at all, which means their creatine levels were probably close to 0 from food alone their entire lives. I didn't know that mattered until I started researching. I wish I had. Multiple studies, consistent findings. Creatine supplementation improves memory and processing speed in healthy older adults. Not marginal improvements, meaningful ones. And the people who benefit most are people who eat little red meat because they're starting from a lower baseline. That's probably most of us. 5 grams daily is the research dose. That's what I take. And creatine is one of the most studied supplements on the planet. Decades of safety data, thousands of studies. This is not some fringe supplement with dubious research. This is real science that most people just haven't heard applied to brain health. Now, the finding I mentioned at the start, a clinical trial, Alzheimer's patients given creatine, not healthy people trying to prevent it, people already diagnosed. The group taking creatine showed significantly better cognitive scores than the placebo group. Some results comparable to approved Alzheimer's medications. Is this conclusive? No. Do we need larger studies? Absolutely. But here's a question I think you need to ask yourself. Given what we already know, given the safety profile, given the cost, given the emerging research, what's the argument for not taking it? I couldn't find one. And given that both my parents had Alzheimer's, I'm not waiting for a perfect study. Recently, someone in one of my Facebook groups mentioned that they were giving creatine to a loved one already in decline. And I want to speak directly to anyone in that situation right now. I understand that impulse completely, because when someone you love is declining, you'll try anything. That's not desperation, that's love. The honest answer is the research in people already in decline is very early. Positive signals, not enough for confident claims. What I'd say is talk to your doctor. Share this video if it helps. It's low risk, but get medical guidance first. You're not crazy for asking about it. Ask. As for how long before you notice brain effects, muscle effects come in days. I felt those in the first week. Brain effects, they work on a completely different timeline. Months, maybe years. And here's the honest truth. Brain protection isn't something you feel happening. It's something you find out about years later, when you still have your mind, when you still recognize the people you love. That's the payoff. It just doesn't come with a notification. I haven't noticed any cognitive changes yet. I didn't expect to. This is a long game, and I think you and I both know it's worth playing. So what do I actually take and how? 5 grams every morning. I add it to my oatmeal. Creatine is tasteless. It dissolves completely in about 30 seconds. I use Thorne creatine monohydrate, NSF certified, independently tested for purity and dose accuracy. No fillers, no additives, just creatine. I'll put a link in my description below to exactly what I use, and if you decide to try it, that's the one I recommend. 2 things worth knowing before you start. First, kidney issues. If you have any kidney problems, please talk to your doctor before taking creatine. It's safe for healthy adults, but if your kidneys are already compromised, get medical guidance first. That's non-negotiable. Second is water. Drink more of it. Creatine draws water into your muscle cells. An extra 2 or 3 glasses daily prevents bloating and keeps everything working properly. It's a simple adjustment. It's worth taking. Both my parents had Alzheimer's. I can't change that. I can't change my genetics. I can't go back and change what they ate. But you and I, right now, we can make different choices. We know things they didn't know. We have research they didn't have access to. And we have time they didn't know they were running out of. Creatine is one piece of what I do every day to give my brain a fighting chance. Low risk, real research, decades of safety data. The muscle results surprised me. The brain health potential is why I started, and it's why I'm not stopping. If any part of this resonates, if you have family history, if you're worried about your own brain, if you're caring for someone right now, I hope this gives you something useful. That's why I make these videos. I don't take creatine to look better in the gym. I take it because I watched both my parents lose their minds. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure that's not my story, and not yours either. Next week, I want to talk about something that might be the most practical episode I've done yet. The daily habits that actually work after 60. Not a list I found online, the ones I personally do every single day. Some of them you'll expect, some of them will surprise you, and I'll be honest about which ones were hard to build and which ones changed everything fastest. Don't just age, get better, Ageproof. Thanks for watching. See you next time.